Our story begins with Bardock now inside the special pyramid of power that Whis erected especially for the training of Bardock. Inside, 2 years will pass as only 1 day on the outside. Whis at this point has just revealed that the first step to their training will be a one-on-one fight between Bardock and Whis. And Whis continues, "So, Bardock-san, are you ready? Before I can understand how best to train you, I need to know the level you're at. And as an angel, I cannot attack a mortal unless given explicit permission. So, what do you say?" Bardock, confused however, replies, "Huh? But if it's just to gauge my level, didn't you just see me fight Kakarot? That was my full power. It's not like I held back or anything. But, whatever. If that's what you want, a Saiyan doesn't back down from a fight." And with an alarmingly cocky smirk, Bardock then gets into his natural fighting stance, saying, "Can't say I'm not excited about this, evil sorcerer. Fighting you will bring me one step closer to understanding how to beat Kakarot. To be honest, though you said you were his master, you hardly look like a fighter. I mean, who ever heard of a fighter that wears lipstick?" Whis, with a sweat drip down his face and his eyes closed, awkwardly smiles and responds, "Oh dear, it's going to be very hard to hold back against you, Bardock-san, after that comment." Before transitioning to a serious face with his arms behind his back as he says, "Well, I guess we may now begin. Come at me when you please, Bardock. Don't feel like you need to hold back. I will be ready for anything you have up your sleeve. Consider yourself a winner, Bardock-san, if you can even lay a single finger on me." And following this, Bardock then rushes in anger, commenting, "Lay a finger? You underestimate the power of a Saiyan far too much, sorcerer! Prepare to die!" Whis immediately gives off a smile, pleased at Bardock's enthusiasm, muttering quietly, "Oh, on the contrary, I know the power of you Saiyans very well." Yeah! Bardock's attack, as expected, is completely dodged by Whis, who is still holding his hands behind his back, and in an almost provoking way comments, Interesting. Decent speed, acceptable technique. You aren't quite as bad as I thought, Bardock-san, but you're no Goku." "What did you say?" Immediately, Bardock, hearing this, flips in anger and responds, "How many times do I need to say this? Don't look down on me, sorcerer!" And following this, then launches a barrage of attacks, which Whis, of course, dodges with ease and with an aggravating smile. But in an instant, Whis momentarily completely vanishes from Bardock's sight, before suddenly appearing right on top of Bardock, using the Saiyan's head as a footstool, commenting from above, "Looking for me, Bardock-san? I must say, you have a surprisingly soft head." Obviously angered at the situation, Bardock mutters, "This guy, get off!" before he suddenly raises his arms to try and grab Whis, but once again, Whis dodges, flipping with elegance while at the same time taunting Bardock, saying, "Ooh, almost got me there, Bardock-san, but still nowhere near enough," before suddenly appearing right in front of a surprised Bardock. "Huh? How did he?" And with a smile, Whis responds, "That's enough for today, I think. I think you deserve a nice rest. Good night, Bardock-san," before placing his finger on a confused Bardock's forehead. Instantly then flicking Bardock point blank, and as a result, sending Bardock flying through the air at a faster speed than he has ever gone before, ultimately then crash landing on his back at full force. Grrr! What power! Was that really just his finger? Whis, however, who stares watching on from afar, thinks to himself with a smile, he may look just like Goku, but in reality, his mindset and mannerisms are more like Vegeta-san's. Simply put, he cannot escape his Saiyan mentality to correlate anger and rage with increasing his power. I'm afraid this may not be as easy as I thought it would be, but at the very least, his body appears to be strong. It seems he's getting up already from that attack even in his base form, but I think it's best I put him out of his misery now. Meanwhile, Bardock does in fact begin getting up, but in clear agony with his eyes closed, still from just how hard the impact of Whis' strike was. He mutters, my whole body seems in pain from just that one attack. I guess he wasn't kidding at all about being Kakarot's master. My head! Before suddenly a sharp pain races through Bardock's head as the after impact of Whis' attack shows, leading to Bardock now grabbing his face and his eyes still closed in pain. Whis, who has now arrived at the scene, just looks on with a cold smile. Simply impressed, Bardock is even still standing, responding, "How impressive for a mortal, but it looks like he isn't in any state to continue training." Before Whis then suddenly rushes in to deliver a final blow, saying, "One last attack for good measure. Prepare yourself, Bardock." But unbelievably, Bardock, who still has his eyes closed and covering his head in pain, instantly dodges Whis' staff at the last second, completely shocking the angel Whis in the process. That movement! How did he... Could this be? Confused at what's going on, Whis continues to attack at the speed that only an angel could maintain, but still oblivious, Bardock manages to dodge everything, completely reversing the cards on Whis. Eventually, however, Bardock suddenly reopens his eyes, realizing only now he's being attacked. He reacts, "Huh? What the? You're still attacking? Why you?" Immediately rushing in to attack back at Whis. Whis, however, dodges that without even trying. Again? And as he winds up to attack Bardock once more, he thinks to himself, his eyes are now open again. Will he be able to dodge this? This moment will be crucial. I won't hold back. Huh? But unfortunately, Bardock's moment of greatness is cut short as Whis' attack actually lands, instantly causing a brutal hit that knocks the teeth out of him, sending Bardock comedically flying this time through the air before finally crash landing on the ground, unconscious and in a daze. Whis is understandably bemused as he truly was expecting more after that brief impressive showing, muttering, "Oh dear, I guess I shouldn't expect too much on day one of training. I probably shouldn't have hit him that hard." But eventually Whis' face goes back to serious as he reflects, thinking, "But to think, it's one thing to have dodged Goku-san's attacks, but he even managed to dodge mine. My movements are not the same as Goku's. My speed, my mannerisms are completely different. I've been trained my entire life to fight even Ultra Instinct users and counter their movements. Not saying I was using my full power, but even just that feat is truly remarkable for a mortal. No doubt, with Mirus relinquishing his role as an angel, Father would be very interested in you, Bardock-san." Meanwhile, the unconscious and dazed Bardock begins to daydream, at first seeing nothing but darkness, but as he slowly opens his eyes, he notices a far-off tree, and beside it, a familiar figure. Where am I? And who is that? It can't be! Is that Gine? And immediately, Bardock runs towards her in excitement, hoping to see his wife for the first time in over 20 years since they both died on planet Vegeta. And immediately the two spouses then completely embrace each other, with Gine muttering, "Oh Bardock, you're finally back! It's been so long since we were last together, my love." A tear begins to fall down her cheek as she continues, "And now, I see you've been revived too, and by our son no less. I can't believe you're finally with our baby boy Kakarot. I'm dying to know, how is he?" Bardock then with a smile replies, "Well, he's dumber than I thought he would be, but at least he's strong, really strong. He's taken after me so well, Gine. Oh, you, so full of yourself as usual. As long as Kakarot's happy and healthy, that's all that matters to me." And Bardock responds, "Oh, don't worry. The kid's full of life, and so is his new family. But anyway, I'll tell you all about it later. But first, it's been 20-something years, so give a guy a kiss, will you?" Bardock begins to blush as he begins to move his face closer to his wife, thinking to himself, "It's been so long since I could last do this. I can't wait. I hope I still know how to do it." And as the two then simultaneously move right next to each other, just about to lock lips and kiss after over 2 decades apart, Gine? Bardock is immediately wakened, now with most of his injuries healed. He gets up from his knees before Whis' staff then covers him in a strange aura, confusing the still disorientated Bardock, who comments, "What is this sorcerer doing now? Taking away my sight again?" But eventually, Bardock realizes his injuries have completely dissipated now and comments, "What the? I thought I was done for after that last attack, and now I'm back at full health. The magic of you sorcerers has no limits, does it, Whis?" Now realizing his reunion with Gine was just a dream, Bardock's face goes back to normal as he looks to Whis and inquires, "So, how was our little fight? I don't feel like you learned much at all. I couldn't even land a single hit on you, and even the tiniest flick from you seemed to finish me instantly. This just feels like a waste of time. I could never be on the same level as you or Kakarot, and this Ultra Instinct is just not possible for me." Whis looks back and explains, however, "Quite on the contrary, Bardock-san. That little skirmish of ours was extremely revealing. You, Bardock-san, are even more talented and powerful than I could have even imagined. In your current state of Ultra Instinct, there are times you move at even the level of a junior angel, and by the end of our training, I believe there will no longer be a mortal in Universe 7 that could even rival you. And that includes Goku-san." Bardock, now with an inflated ego and sense of self-worth, responds, "Oh really? I like the sound of that. So after this training, I'll be able to teach that brat a lesson. Yeah, that sounds perfect. I can't wait." But Bardock's confidence soon falters a bit as he looks at his fist and questions, "Though, I can't avoid the fact that once again, it seems to me whatever you see in me is something that happens only when I'm not aware, and when I'm blind. How exactly are we going to overcome that? It's not like I would choose power over my ability to see. But Whis nonchalantly replies, "That's no problem, Bardock-san. While you were sleeping, I had an idea. A special item designed only for usage of gods of destructions. But I think I can make an exception for you." And with that, Whis then uses his staff to zap into existence a particular special item, a mysterious blindfold. The item then flies over to Bardock, led by Whis, but as the blindfold lands in Bardock's hands, he cannot help but look on awkwardly and comments, blindfold? A blindfold is your big special item reserved only for gods of destruction? I think we had these even on Earth, Whis. What nonsense is this? Do you actually expect this to be a better alternative to me just closing my eyes? You can take it back. I have my own bandana to use as a blindfold anyway. However, Whis, who finds Bardock's shallow thinking humorous, replies smirking, "No, Bardock-san, this is no ordinary blindfold. With this special item, your body and mind will react as if you are blind, which in theory should allow you to delve into your natural ultra instinct that we observed earlier. But the caveat is, with this blindfold, you will be able to sense and visualize within your mind the life force of whoever is in front of you, as well as whatever has been touched by a living object. In essence, you will be both blind but also still aware of your surroundings, and hopefully this combination will be able to bring out both your ability to dodge while maintaining your ability to attack also." But on hearing this, the simple Saiyan looks on comedically confused, saying, This does what now?" And Whis, with a sweat tear down his face, trying not to giggle, tells Bardock, "Oh dear, I forgot you are the father of Goku-san after all. Please, just try it on and you will see what I mean. You can trust me just this once." Bardock, hearing these words, but also very cautious over the fact Whis has blinded him twice before with his magic, stares at the blindfold for a moment, pondering whether it's worth the risk, before eventually taking the plunge and placing the blindfold on, saying, "Here goes!" And almost instantly, Bardock's body becomes surrounded by a mysterious aura, the aura of Ultra Instinct. Bardock, however, seems to be oblivious of any change, just commenting, "So, I can't see anything yet. How do I turn this on? Hold on." Before suddenly he realizes he can see a strange image near him. He sees the life force of Whis, including various mysterious points of energy concentrated in his body. Bardock, surprisingly, almost instantly gets to grip with what he's seeing and comments, "I see what you mean now. I know where you are, sorcerer. In my mind, I can visualize it, despite my eyes seeing nothing but darkness. I can attack you if I wanted to, but this seems like a gimmick. Will this really still allow me to use Ultra Instinct?" And Whis just sinisterly smiles and replies, "Well, there's only one way we can find that out, Bardock-san. Let's see for ourselves." Before immediately then twirling and spinning his staff at super speed around his body in an attempt to confuse Bardock's senses, before instantly throwing it right at Bardock without saying a word. But as it rushes at full speed towards the blindfolded Bardock, he remains completely still, until at the very last second, with a slight head tilt, dodges the staff completely. Before then amazingly, instantly grabbing the staff on its way out, right by its tail end, and then proceeds to throw it back at Whis at a similar speed, yelling, "Here! I think you dropped this!" Whis, of course, then stops the staff, and the two training partners just look back at each other with a smile, now knowing the path they must take to master Bardock's training. Meanwhile, back with King Vegeta and Vegeta in the hyperbolic time chamber, many months have passed and the two continue to train. King Vegeta is seen and asks Vegeta, "So, Vegeta, where do we go from here? I've reached the pinnacle of Super Saiyan forms, but it seems pointless in comparison to your God form. So what was the point in all of this? Why couldn't you just teach me to become a god from the start?" Vegeta, however, looks back with his arms folded and replies, "Father, achieving those forms was no waste of time. Not only did you get stronger in the process of battling me and ascending, you also prepared yourself for the massive boost in power that comes from becoming a god. These forms are unlike any other, and your power level will increase far beyond than you can imagine. You just can't feel it, as God Ki is not something mortals can sense." He then continues, looking his father straight in the eyes, "When you reach this level, it's important your body is even capable of handling and controlling such a power increase. If not, it could result in your destruction." "Huh? My own destruction? What do you mean, son?" Understandably, King Vegeta is left aghast at Vegeta's comments, but Vegeta continues, "I'm talking about your own body self-destructing, just like the Saiyan of legend. Back when we were on Vegeta, you told me of the legend of the first Super Saiyan, and how he could not control his own power, which eventually led to him and the planet he was on being destroyed together. After becoming a Super Saiyan myself, I knew that could not be the case. The jump in power is not so large that a mortal body cannot handle it, and is proven by the fact even my young son Trunks, and Kakarot's brat too, who is even younger, mastered the Super Saiyan form with ease and without training. The Saiyan of legend who could not handle his power must have somehow reached a far greater power, the power of a god. That is the only explanation, and by becoming a god without reaching the previous Super Saiyan forms, his life was unfortunately cut short through his inability to handle the energy increase. But with you, father, after training to the point of surpassing even a Super Saiyan 3, you are now finally ready to make the jump. I just hope you're prepared for it." King Vegeta, hearing this, then looks down at his fist and says, "I see. So these months of training were necessary after all. I do feel ready, my son. Whatever this insane power jump is, I should be able to do it just like you and Kakarot. Tell me, how do I accomplish this?" And Vegeta, now impressed with his father's conviction, replies with a smirk, "So be it. I will show you how I became a Super Saiyan God all by myself, using my own secret method." Leaving King Vegeta stunned as he curiously inquires, "Secret method?" Our story continues with King Vegeta still in shock from Vegeta's revelation that he will teach him exactly how to become a god, revealing for the first time how he himself did it, with King Vegeta muttering in hesitation, "Secret method? To become a god? What do you mean, son? Were you the one who taught Kakarot to become a god too?" And Vegeta, with his arms folded, coldly replies, "No, father. That coward did it another way. in the most un-Saiyan-like way you could imagine. Just what you'd expect of him. It all began when the god of destruction Beerus first arrived here on Earth. He arrived without warning with his angel Whis, and requested a bout with a Super Saiyan god. At the time, I was the only one of me and Kakarot to be present, and of course, I had no idea what a Saiyan god was. I fought him first, but to no avail, and then eventually, Kakarot decided to arrive. King Vegeta, meanwhile, is just shocked to hear Beerus' involvement, yelling, "Beerus was looking for the Super Saiyan God? And he came directly to Earth too! Unbelievable! Who could imagine the Destroyer stepping foot on such a weak planet?" Before realizing, wait, this planet must have been where Kakarot fought Beerus and survived, isn't it? Incredible! So he became a god in the middle of fighting one. Bardock's son is quite something, if that's the case. However, Vegeta then corrects his father smugly, saying, "Not quite. Kakarot fought Beerus only after summoning Shenron first, and wishing for the knowledge of how to create a Super Saiyan god. The dragon then told him that when 5 righteous Super Saiyans came together in ceremony, they would create the so-called Super Saiyan. And so, with every Saiyan on Earth joining hands, myself embarrassingly included, we were able to give Kakarot the ability to become a god. Meaning, as usual, that clown needed everyone else's help to accomplish anything." King Vegeta, on hearing this, looks back awkwardly, thinking in his head a strangely miscommunicated scene of Goku and Vegeta holding hands and playing together, imagining this is what was necessary to perform the ceremony, saying quietly, I see. Holding hands created a god. So that's how you did it then. This is almost as bad as that tingly back method of becoming a Super Saiyan. What has this anime come to? So, I guess for your secret method, I guess we too will need to hold hands. Come here, my son.
Vegeta, however, instantly yells, embarrassed,
"No! You fool! That is not what I did! I am a lone wolf and always have been. To achieve power like that would be unbefitting of the Prince of all Saiyans. As I said, only a coward like Kakarot would take such an easy way out. No, I did things my own way, as always."
And following this, after calming down, Vegeta then begins describing in great detail,
"Father, to become a god, I extracted the power from my very being. Godhood is something that is within us all, but can be activated only by another god, and only after being attacked by one who is already divine. When Beerus first came to Earth, as I said earlier, before he fought Kakarot, I attacked him first, and was easily beaten. When he beat me though, I suffered multiple blows by his hand, the hand of a god of destruction. When he hit me, I realized later on during my training that remnants of his godly ki imparted themselves in small amounts into my very being. As I underwent training with Whis, I could soon sense this. And with this feeling in mind, I focused my own energy and ki to push out the foreign godly matter and condense it into a ball. And once it was extracted, I wielded it in my own hands, staring at its power. Power that without doubt reminded me of Kakarot in his god form. Without hesitation, I then grabbed onto the energy, attempting to assimilate it once more into my body, and use all my power to control it transforming as far as I could, all the way until a Super Saiyan 2. Until finally, in a massive explosion, my entire body was caught. My life was about to end instantly. But somehow, some way, I managed to come out on the other side alive. And as the light and destruction subsided, I was finally a god. Meanwhile, King Vegeta, having heard his son's unique struggle, is left blindsided, replying, "Incredible! So only through fighting a god can one become one himself. So now I understand why you attacked me as a Super Saiyan God the last time we fought. It must have been to impart this god key of yours into me, just as Beerus did to you. Genius, my son! And here I thought you were being an insolent brat." Vegeta, however, smirks and replies, "No, that wasn't anything to do with training you. That was more just to shut you up over your newfound cockiness as a Super Saiyan 3. That level of beatdown was nothing, and not enough to have absorbed enough of my God Key. The real battle begins now." Suddenly realizing what Vegeta is suggesting, King Vegeta reacts in shock and horror, yelling, "Wait! You need to hit me again? Wait, Vegeta!" With his son just sinisterly laughing in response. Before instantly, without warning, Vegeta powers up, seemingly to his full power. Vegeta! Blowing King Vegeta completely away in the process, as he has never seen his son power up so much. King Vegeta continues to fly further and further away as Vegeta's aura grows larger and larger in size, blinding King Vegeta in the process, before eventually his eyes open to see a Vegeta now in his Super Saiyan Evolution Blue form. Vegeta! This form! Don't tell me you wish to attack me like that! Far in the air, King Vegeta then regains his position, staring down at the now fully powered Prince, and begins muttering in fear. This is too much! Just the pressure is enough to tell me this is levels beyond a Super Saiyan God! What are you planning, son? Before then finally landing back down. The king then continues, Vegeta, it's clear to see your power is still far beyond mine. And it's also obvious, while here in training, your power too has jumped. This form of yours, is this another form of a Super Saiyan God? What is this? And Vegeta responds coldly, I showed you this before, father. I call this Evolution Blue. This is what you need to achieve. A form fit only for royalty such as us. Not even Kakarot has reached this form yet. King Vegeta, now with his tune changed, then replies, a form only for royalty? I like the sound of that. Incredible. But Vegeta, I think we both know your power is too great like this. Go back to your red form, or better yet, let's try and do this without violence. In a matter of nanoseconds, Vegeta then punches King Vegeta point blank before he can even finish the final syllable of his sentence. The punch is so powerful, even the ground of the hyperbolic time chamber crumbles from the collision of King Vegeta onto it, sending white debris everywhere. King Vegeta, meanwhile, writhes in pain, stop, but still remains conscious. Vegeta, however, does not let up and rushes in immediately again, this time attempting to stomp down on the body of the king, but King Vegeta, just by chance, is able to avoid at the last second.
As he turns around and sees his son, he tries to reason with him once more, saying,
Vegeta! Stop what you're doing! Just that punch was enough to absorb your God Ki! Honestly, you're going to kill me at this rate! Ah!
But instantly, just as before, Vegeta moves in swiftly. And before King Vegeta can even react, he is grabbed by his face and slammed once more into the hyperbolic time chamber's floor. With his hand still covering the king's face, the prince then mocks him, saying,
Is this all you've got? After all this training, 2 attacks with me barely trying is enough to kill you? Even future Trunks would take this beating better.
And King Vegeta, who at this point is delirious and diving in and out of consciousness, repeats,
Future Trunks?
Before then, Vegeta with one arm raises the king up from the floor, still grabbing onto him only by his head, continuing,
This part of your training has only just begun, father. For someone who claims to have been fighting to the death for over 30 years in hell, you sure don't seem to be used to this kind of damage. Let me refresh you on what near death truly feels like.
And suddenly, behind him, Vegeta summons a wall of ice from the ground, this time larger and denser than ever before. And without a moment's notice, Vegeta then rushes in, pulling his father by the face along with him, right towards the wall, as King Vegeta yells,
Vegeta! No, stop! Ah!
Immediately then viciously being slammed face first into the ice wall as Vegeta runs his father against the ice, destroying the mountain in the process. Finally then throwing the king into the distance like a mere ragdoll. With the side of his face now busted, King Vegeta briefly looks back at his son, thinking it might finally be over, muttering,
Vegeta, when did you become so ruthless? That's enough.
But unfortunately, Vegeta is far from done and blasts off at full speed like a bullet towards his father.
You've got to be kidding me! When will this end? Son, please! I give up!
But with no remorse, Vegeta headbutts his father straight away, before then launching another straight right hook. And before the king can even recover slightly, Vegeta powers up one final punch as the king whispers,
He's taken it too far. This is the end.
Immediately then punching up full force, King Vegeta right in the solar plexus, causing his father now to begin coughing up blood.
Vegeta, you...
Following these last words, King Vegeta more or less now loses all consciousness and remains silent as Vegeta once again then grabs his father by the hair. And finally, without a care in the world over his father's condition, Vegeta then flying knees the king right in the face, point blank, who now, with all his consciousness now lost and potentially even his life, remains silent after the final hit. And peacefully, King Vegeta then finally falls in mid-flight, eyes closed, before landing on the ground, alone, motionless, and unconscious.
Fatality.
Vegeta, meanwhile, with an indiscriminate smirk on his face, then begins to fly down also, while fiddling to find something in his pocket, noting,
I think that should be just enough now. Good thing Bulma gave me a few of these.
Before then revealing in his hand a senzu bean, noting,
I never did like taking these things, but they do have their uses. After a beating like that,
Father is probably closer to death than he's ever been before. But after eating one of these, he's also going to feel better and stronger than he ever has as well. Huh? What am I sensing? Immediately, Vegeta becomes alarmed as a strong power level begins to appear near him. An almost impossibility considering how only he and his father should be inside the chamber. As he turns around, however, shock begins to overwhelm him as he realizes what he's looking at. He then begins to mumble, Father? How can this be? And standing there just barely with black hair, but still with a yellow aura, ravaged in lightning, King Vegeta stands completely silent for a moment before saying under his breath, Vegeta, we aren't done here. Father, you shouldn't be able to move, let alone talk. What is this strange aura? Where is it even coming from? I don't like this. Stand down, Father. Your body is in no state to carry on. But suddenly, without warning, King Vegeta screams in rage, unleashing even more unbelievable power. The power-up is so great that even Vegeta in his evolution blue form is forced to cover up, as he notices, this makes no sense! Where was Father holding all this power? His body is beginning to glow. This doesn't look good. It looks like he's about to blow up! And just as Vegeta said, King Vegeta's entire body begins to become so bright that he becomes lost in a ball of golden energy. Until suddenly, the ball of energy expands into a strange but familiar shape as a true monster grows from within the key. And from the light, King Vegeta is now revealed as a golden Uzaru, who yells primarily in rage, What the hell? Uzaru? But how? There's no moon here. This is ridiculous. This yellow fur also. I've never seen one like this. This could be a problem. But before Vegeta could even see just how strong this Uzaru could be, the giant ape itself begins to glow in an intense light. Catching Vegeta off guard as he just watches on with a puzzling amazement. As the incredible situation plays out, the golden Uzaru begins to devolve back into a massive ball of golden energy, and inside, a mysterious figure begins to take shape. In the background, Vegeta mutters as he sees this, saying, What on earth am I witnessing here? Is Father even aware of what he's doing? And from the ball of energy, King Vegeta finally appears, now in a legendary form from the past. A form neither Goku nor Vegeta had ever seen in their universe before. King Vegeta had ascended to become a Super Saiyan 4. What is this strange power? It's amazing. I can sense it. He's no god, but this power is no power a mortal should hold. Did he really go beyond the Super Saiyan 3? Meanwhile, the newly powered up King Vegeta looks down at his hands, marveling at his own power and new look, before finally looking up and saying with a cocky smile, Thanks for the training, Vegeta. Now, it's my turn. Meanwhile, back in the Pyramid of Power, the blindfolded Bardock and Whis continue their training to help master Bardock's natural Ultra Instinct. Bardock can be seen meditating, and watching from a distance, Whis can be seen saying with a smile, Bardock-san has sure come a long way already. It hasn't even been long, but his mastery of Ultra Instinct with the divine blindfold
has been unprecedented. Not even Goku-san could reach him now, at least not yet. We may be finished in here much faster than I even anticipated, but I'll make certain just for sure.
Whis, following this, then takes his staff into his hand. And instantly, Whis throws it at full speed, anticipating that Bardock's natural instinct will allow him to dodge just like before, saying,
"Now, let's see what you can do, Bardock-san."
The staff then moves at an intense speed, inching closer and closer to the meditating Bardock, before suddenly, the staff makes full contact with the head of Bardock, who remains emotionless and unfazed. Understandably, Whis is left looking on awkwardly, as not even he could anticipate this happening after all their training, remarking,
What happened? These Saiyans are just full of surprises, aren't they?
Whis then flies over to the still meditating Bardock and retrieves his staff, before getting closer to Bardock, where he then makes a startling revelation. Whis, in almost expected disappointment, then finally says,
"As amazing as this mortal is, I can never forget he is a Saiyan, and Goku-san's father at that."
So our story begins with the newly ascended King Vegeta standing before his shocked son in his Super Saiyan 4 form. There's a deathly silence as the two take in what has just happened, before Vegeta, still in his evolution blue form, breaks the tension and questions,
Super Saiyan 4?
"So, this is what things would have looked like if Beerus never came and showed us the power of the gods. I can't say I'm not impressed. This power I can sense is absurd. You may actually have a shot at Frieza like this, father. But still, I can't quite understand how you're doing this so easily. It doesn't make sense to me that you've arrived and just suddenly shown far more talent than both me and Kakarot immediately. It's the Broly situation all over again. Just how have you done this? Kakarot has been a Super Saiyan 3 for years, and not once did it even come to him that it was possible another form existed beyond that. Once we became gods, the jump in power was so insanely vast there was no way our Saiyan forms could possibly keep up. But if what I'm sensing is correct, you've come pretty damn close." Meanwhile, King Vegeta, after hearing his son's bittersweet reaction, just smiles and replies, "So, I was right. This isn't something either you or Kakarot could do. My own form, a form fit for a king. Ha ha ha! Perfect. Truth be told, blonde hair was one thing, but forcing myself to go red and then even blue was a push too far. I was hoping I could go further beyond as a Super Saiyan, and when I first became a Super Saiyan 3, I kind of already had an idea that there was still more power left to uncover." The king then points directly at Vegeta while still damaged and continues, "But you seem to be impressed by my power as I am now, comparing myself to your god power how I stand currently. But you fail to remember, this is me after you just gave me the beating of a lifetime, my son. Now give me that strange green bean you were muttering about earlier right before I transformed. You said yourself, I'd feel better and stronger than ever before after taking one, didn't you? So hand it over!" However, Vegeta is immediately alarmed, responding, "Huh? You heard all of that? But how? You were completely unconscious. One hit more and you'd have re-entered the other world. That beating would have left even Beerus in a daze, let alone you.
I thought you lost control when you suddenly got up. You turned into a damn Uzaru. A golden one at that. Don't tell me you knew what you were doing the entire time.
King Vegeta, however, just continues smiling with his arms folded and replies cockily,
My dear son, by living on this forsaken weak planet, you've forgotten all that made you truly a Saiyan. You see, Vegeta, as much as you can beat my body down, when a Saiyan is at their absolute weakest and lowest, that is when they can finally surpass their own limits and go even further beyond. You've witnessed that yourself from the stories you've told me of Kakarot and his son, at least in their early Super Saiyan transformations. Yet for me, you've been shocked at every moment I've transformed, watching how in a fraction of the time I managed to delve deep and surpass those limits, wondering consistently why and how. But what you fail to realize is the one difference between me and both you and Kakarot. My goddamn tail! Don't think I didn't notice how you two brats had discarded your most valuable body part and linked your true identity. I can only imagine it was just so you could fit in with the rest of the Earthlings here. Pathetic.
Vegeta, however, struggles to follow, and with his arms folded continues,
Your tail? What on earth are you talking about, old man? What difference would your tail make? Every single Saiyan is born with one of those. I lived for years with mine since birth, and it was nothing more than a hindrance after a while. For many, if grabbed, it even completely stopped their movements. The ability to transform into an Ozaru is all it was good for. But what use is the power increase of an Ozaru transformation to a Saiyan who can become a Super Saiyan or more? This is nonsense, father.
King Vegeta replies, however, disappointed in his son's disbelief, saying,
Nonsense? It seems you know little about the true power of a Saiyan, son, or even the reason why exactly we were born with such tails, unlike other humanoid species. But I guess it's not surprising, since you were only a boy when we first became separated. I never did get to show you the ancient Saiyan scripts or reveal the truth about our race and our history.
Shock then overwhelms the prince as he hears the unexpected words of King Vegeta, and he immediately then queries further,
Ancient Saiyan scripts? The truth about our race? What gibberish are you saying, you senile old fool? Wait a second. In all our time together, you never once mentioned anything like this. I knew all kinds of legends, including the one of the legendary Super Saiyan. So how am I hearing about these supposed ancient writings only now?
King Vegeta, now transitioning to a serious face, responds,
Because, son, because of that monster Frieza. You never came of the required age to be shown the texts. You have to understand, in the Saiyan culture, only Saiyans of a specific pedigree are taken to learn our true history and origins. Only those Saiyans who have displayed high enough battle power or bravery and have reached the age of 20 are ever then taken to the underground vaults of planet Vegeta. And of course, just with your battle power as a child, you were always destined to do the same. But the key problem was that you were still a child, and I died battling Frieza before I could ever take you there. And now, it's all gone forever. It's from those very texts you even learned about the Super Saiyan, son. Did you never wonder how those stories of the Super Saiyan from millennia ago were passed down to be known now? It was all from the books found in the vault. Ancient scripts that dictated who we really are, and just what potential we truly have.
As stunned Vegeta remains silent for a moment before muttering,
I see. So I'm guessing Raditz and Nappa never made the cut either. I guess they were assigned to guard me 24/7 anyway. So now I'm intrigued. Just what exactly was included in those texts? What is the truth about our Saiyan race that you keep hinting about? And wouldn't those texts have told you too, not only of the Super Saiyan, but also the Super Saiyan God and the ceremony involved?
King Vegeta in response replies, however,
"That could very well be the case, son. These texts were numerous. An entire roll library was commissioned solely for harboring these books, which documented the Saiyans of the past and the knowledge they had gained about our numerous abilities. In truth, even I had not read everything in there, but instead knew only of the greatest feats of our race. I knew of the Super Saiyan, and I also knew of the Genius Saiyan who understood most about our species. A Saiyan who was said to have ascended to a form known only in the text as Red. I can only assume that form is what you now call the Super Saiyan God. He uncovered what was known to be the true source of all our power, a spot in our bodies that contained a concentrated amount of genetic material that was key to our inherent abilities of growing stronger and stronger after each battle, key to our Zenkai boosts, and key to our ability to reach new heights in the most unlikely of situations. And that key was our tails. Inside there, our very essence as a Saiyan was kept, the secret to our constantly improving abilities.
King Vegeta then continues,
I gathered from both you and Kakarot's reaction to my power when I first arrived here that even with my explanation of just how many thousand Zenkai boosts I received while in hell, you two just couldn't quite believe how I'd matched and even surpassed your base form power, despite all these battles you faced in the living world against Frieza, that Cell fellow you mentioned, and even the strongest warriors of other universes. All the while, you did all of that, not realizing you had completed all of those battles without the one thing that would have enhanced your Saiyan progress even further. And when I noticed that both you and Kakarot had lost your tails, it all became clear to me. Though you had done well getting this far in strength, it was seemingly always through natural methods. Intense training in rooms such as this, battling stronger and stronger enemies. You just no longer had your bloodline's inherent ability to multiply your power each time you recovered. And I can only imagine just how monstrous you and Kakarot would have been if you kept your tails. In the text, they spoke of Saiyans who chose not to conform with society. They forcefully pulled out and cut off their own tails in order to revolt against the rest. But unfortunately, their rash decisions soon became their downfall, as over time, it was soon noted that these Saiyans began to grow at a much slower rate than the rest, and they increasingly became weaker in comparison to the rest of the tailed Saiyans. And it didn't take long before the pieces of the puzzle came together, and it became apparent that this was due to their Zenkai boosts seemingly being less and less significant right after losing their tail. After some time, after each battle, they would only marginally become stronger, while the rest of the tailed Saiyans grew exponentially each time. And it makes me wonder now, I don't know how exactly you and Kakarot have been tailless, but Vegeta, have you noticed this same phenomenon in your era?
Vegeta, now in complete shock, begins to realize how things begin to make sense as he thinks back to various points where his Zenkai boost was put into question, saying,
Wait, surely this cannot be. Some time ago, I fought a warrior from the future, a clone of Kakarot, who stabbed me right through the chest. On healing up and fighting him again, my own son was the one to notice that my Zenkai had little effect. And indeed, my power was nowhere near as substantially different as expected. Definitely nothing like how it was when I was on Namek, and could actually rely on it to fend off Frieza, even if momentarily. It's exactly as you say. Since that day, I lost my tail. I've had to push myself endlessly to get stronger. Gravity rooms, time chambers, the list goes on.
King Vegeta with his arms folded then responds,
Yes, I could tell that was the case. It's a shame, but I do believe with those Dragon Balls of yours, you may just be able to regain your true Saiyan power and regrow a tail. If they can bring a corpse like me back, I'm sure they can do that too. But enough talking. Give me one of those Senzu beans you spoke of, and I'll show you firsthand what a true Saiyan Zenkai is supposed to look like.
Vegeta reluctantly then replies,
Here.
And then proceeds to throw a Senzu bean at King Vegeta, who catches it instantly and begins eating the mysterious bean. Suddenly, all of King Vegeta's muscles begin to bulge one by one before a huge aura surrounds him as he yells out, The force and shockwaves of the power-up then leave Vegeta covering himself, as even he is shocked at what he is now sensing, noting,
What the hell? He wasn't kidding. I can sense his power level growing. He's already far stronger than he was just seconds ago. Don't tell me. Did I really miss out on all this for all these years?
And on completion of his power-up, King Vegeta then finally stands fully healed, covered in electricity and a familiar yellow aura, with his arms folded and a smirk as he then says,
So, I think it's about time we tried out this new form. The power of a Saiyan transformation versus your God-infused power. Let's see what's better, once and for all. Sound good, my son? Or do you wish to bow out now and run with your tail between your legs? Oh wait, I guess you couldn't do that even if you wanted to, huh?
Vegeta following this then immediately gets into fighting stance, and with a smirk replies,
You're a regular comedian. I see you haven't lost a shred of overconfidence after that beating I gave you. Zenkai boost or not, you're out of your league, old man. There is a difference between a mortal and a god, but you can find that out yourself.
But as soon as Vegeta's sentence is finished, King Vegeta immediately rushes in at full speed, shocking the prince who hardly expected it. Instantaneously then, without warning, King Vegeta slams his fist across the unprepared Vegeta's face, immediately starting his revenge for what happened earlier. As Vegeta flies across the time chamber, he thinks to himself,
He's gotten faster.
Before suddenly falling from the air like a torpedo, King Vegeta falls at top speed, feet first, ultimately slamming Vegeta right in his stomach as hard as he can, sending the poor prince hurtling to a crash landing on the surface of the time chamber. Within milliseconds, however, King Vegeta appears on top of his son, who still remains disorientated and shocked as the king yells,
And now, it's time I beat some sense into you until you feel what I felt. Just try and beg me to stop, Vegeta! Yeah!
Suddenly then landing his first punch, before going for his second,
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
landing multiple punches before going for one more. But unfortunately, this time it's instantly grabbed with ease by Vegeta before any more damage can be done. Vegeta, still holding his father's arm and now the cocky smirk, remarks,
All that transformation and talk, and this is supposed to be your big revenge? You bring no end to my amusement, father.
Meanwhile, staring back at his son wide-eyed, King Vegeta is shocked at the sudden turn of events.
responding, "What is going on? You're smiling, even in this scenario? You've been completely and utterly outmatched by me. You think this is a game after how badly you beat me? Your punishment has not even begun yet." But Vegeta, now with an even more menacing smile, just replies, "Outmatched me? Are you sure about that, father? I didn't think you'd become senile this early on in your old age. Allow me to remind you of the difference between a mortal and a god!" Instantly powering up as he yells this, causing a huge ball of energy to envelop Vegeta and push the shocked King Vegeta away with it. Eventually, King Vegeta regains himself in the air, but as he looks down, Vegeta's energy causes more and more debris and smoke to cover him. King Vegeta, while witnessing this, thinks back on just how easily Vegeta brushed him aside, saying, "There's no way this is happening again! Was he holding back when he was beating me down before? I've reached an all-new level of power! Why is our gap in strength still the same?" While the king ponders his own weakness, from the cloud of smoke, something suddenly shoots out. And instantly, point blank, we see Vegeta in his evolution blue form, right in the face of a completely astounded King Vegeta, as he powers up what appears to be a Gallic gun, saying, "Hello, father. Allow me to explain something to you. Whatever this form is impressive. This would have been useful maybe if we were still at the level of a Super Saiyan Blue. But right now, in these limit breaker forms, myself and Kakarot you have no chance to even rival us at half our power. I told you, your goal is and always will be the God forms. I enjoyed your history lesson on our Saiyan heritage, but I assure you, no tail is going to be what allows you to surpass me, and I'll show you that the hard way." King Vegeta, realizing what his son plans, just looks back, aghast, and yells, Wait, Vegeta! No! Ha! And just like that, Vegeta then fires his Gallic gun without any care for his father, point blank at King Vegeta. Within the span of seconds, King Vegeta is forcefully pushed miles away as the blast continues to rage on, with him being able to do nothing to stop it but survive until it disintegrates him. As King Vegeta gets pushed, he thinks introspectively, "This cannot be happening! After every transformation I go through, every limit I break, I still can't touch him. This energy blast I can't even escape from is a damn testament to that. He's been playing with me from the start. These god forms have made these brats so complacent. Of course, they no longer even feel the need to transform any further as true Saiyans. And I can't stand anymore to be beaten like this so easily over and over." Now angered by his own weakness, King Vegeta's face shifts to one of struggle as he stretches out both his arms in an attempt to now take control, muttering as he does, "If God power is what I need to finally match you, Vegeta, then so be it. I'll show you what it is for a true-tailed Saiyan to take control of the power of the gods!" As King Vegeta then suddenly begins giving it his all to try and fight back against Vegeta's Gallic gun. Midway through, however, King Vegeta thinks back to what his son had told him. So, to become a god, one must extract the god key already inside of him. My injuries may have healed, but I can still feel exactly where Vegeta hit me. Now all I need to do is extract it. Let's see. And as Vegeta continues pushing his Gallic gun, he notices something strange happening with his father's hands. What is he?
And instantly, King Vegeta brings out of his hands a massive ball of God Ki, the combined power that Vegeta had beaten into him earlier, far larger than anything Beerus had imparted into Vegeta. Slowly but surely, the ball continues to increase in size as Vegeta realizes his own Gallic gun, made of the same God Ki, is being absorbed directly into it.
Don't tell me he's trying to become a god now of all times! He's insane! That's way too much to handle! I have to stop things now, or this will only get worse!
As Vegeta stops, the king is then left with a gigantic ball of Vegeta's combined God Ki in his arms, struggling to even maintain its shape.
This doesn't look like what he described! This better work!
And the tired out of breath king then continues.
That was a lot harder than I thought it'd be, but at least I've survived his Gallic gun. Now all I have to do is try and take control of this key, and I too will be a god.
King Vegeta, now relaxed at his naive thoughts over finally equaling his son, then smiles and says,
I figured, son. If I'm supposedly able to extract and conform this god energy of yours that you beat into me, I should also be able to use it to interact with your own attacks. After all, it is all your energy. Now that I've combined the two, this surplus of God Ki should take me to levels even beyond your evolution blue. You described a small ball of concentrated God Ki when you transformed. So, I guess this will be enough, right?
The completely astonished and fearful Vegeta panics, however, and yells back,
No! Father, stop! That's not how it works! That is far too much God Ki! It's life-threatening enough to attempt this with just a small amount as a mortal. With this amount, your body will be completely destroyed! You are out of your depth. Listen to my words, and stop now!
King Vegeta, however, just smiles back and replies,
I told you to stop doubting the power of a tailed Saiyan, didn't I? You never learn.
And instantly then grabs the big ball of God energy, detonating it in hopes of assimilating the God Ki with his own body. Leaving his son to just stand below helplessly, only able to watch as his father makes the biggest mistake of his life. He screams one last time, No! No, father! As King Vegeta just looks back in silence, still smiling at his son. As expected, an explosion of indescribable magnitude is seen, one which no mortal could ever hope to survive. And the completely frustrated prince, who has now moved away far enough, just stares blankly into it, unable to say anything just yet. A giant mushroom cloud is seen in the aftermath of the explosion, as neither Vegeta nor his father can be heard still. Eventually the clouds begin to slowly dissipate, but unfortunately, nothing is left behind. Vegeta, after some time of staring, eventually realizes there is no trace of his father or his ki left. In anger and disappointment, he reflects,
Father, you idiot! You went too far. For the first time, I can't sense you anymore. You really died trying to surpass me. You let your damn pride cloud your decisions, and now you're gone. Again.
Vegeta, in both sadness and anger, then slams his fist on the ground, yelling out,
Damn it! I shouldn't have mocked him so hard for his power level. This is all my fault. If I didn't rush him to get stronger, he would still be here. We've only been in here half a year. There was still time to progress. But after using the Dragon Balls already, Now it's going to take a whole year to see him again! Damn it all! However, in the distance, a pair of feet land, and a shadowy figure passes through the dust clouds, saying as he walks towards Vegeta, "A whole year, you say? I definitely haven't got time for that." And with glowing orange hair, green pupilled eyes, a slimmer frame, and a divine aura, King Vegeta stands alive, blemishless, in the very first Super Saiyan 4 God form, as he demands finally, "Now tell me again, what exactly was supposed to destroy me, son?" So our story continues within the Pyramid of Power, where there is a strange silence, and neither Whis nor Bardock can be seen, before suddenly, multiple clashes of fists and feet are seen in the air, as Whis and Bardock are momentarily seen as they move at super speed. Eventually, we see the blindfolded Bardock vigorously attacking Whis, or at least attempting to, while Whis proceeds to just block and parry with just one arm, before giving off a smile and noting, much better, Bardock-san. Now you're fighting more like your son." Which immediately triggers Bardock as he replies, "Stop comparing me to Kakarot! Just shut up and focus on our fight, sorcerer!" And without hesitation, Whis responds, "As you wish, Bardock-san," and immediately summons his staff, grabbing it in his hand before instantly swinging it directly at Bardock. Without a moment's notice, however, Bardock dodges. "Didn't I tell you to focus? What kind of attack was that? I saw it from a mile away, Whis." An irritated Whis then continues, "Very well, I'll take this up a notch." Immediately then non-stop attacking Bardock, who masterfully still manages to keep up, dodging everything Whis throws at him, albeit still with one arm behind his back. However, in his overconfidence, Bardock eventually does the unexpected and grabs Whis' staff, and smiles, instantly shocking the angel. "Huh? Bardock-san?" With a cocky smirk, Bardock says under his breath, "Enough of these games. Let's see you try and dodge this one, sorcerer. Try this!" Immediately powering up in the palm of his hands, a concentrated ball of energy. Before letting go of the staff and firing point blank at Whis. Huh? Where did he go now? It doesn't take long, however, for Bardock to realize his attack was for null, as Whis vanishes instantly. For a moment, Bardock looks around, attempting to sense Whis' presence using his sacred blindfold, but not even that seems to help as he questions. He's completely hidden his presence! Did he leave this dimension? This makes no sense! Just what is the limit to this sorcerer's abilities? Suddenly, as Bardock continues to ponder Whis' location, Whis arrives in 4 different positions, and somehow lands 4 different times. What is this? Unbelievably, after not being able to even find one Whis, 4 different clones of Whis now surround Bardock. A look of utter overwhelming fear then rushes over Bardock as he mutters, 4 sorcerers? Duh. I was just about getting used to looking at one of those lipstick-wearing freaks. Where the hell did these guys come from? What is this? Naruto? Whis, looking on sternly, ready to attack, answers, "Oh, Bardock-san, your primitive Saiyan brain must truly be running circles right now. I told you I would turn it up a notch. Prepare yourself, Bardock. I have a feeling this may end our training session for today." And following this, all 4 apparitions of Whis suddenly then rush in at Bardock, all 4 with a sinister smile, knowing that Bardock will 100% now be completely overwhelmed. Let's see how long he sustains this beating before he passes out. Instantly, all 4 Whis then attack Bardock at the same time. Fists and kicks fly by as Bardock shockingly at first just about manages to evade with his natural instinct, but eventually things go wrong. As suddenly, attack after attack begins to land as Bardock becomes completely unable to keep up with full simultaneous attack directions. After some time, Bardock begins to focus in and attempts to just block each of the 4 Whis, no longer dodging but still sustaining damage. A smirk appears across his face, however, as he soon realizes something. Just as I thought, this blindfold allows me to see exactly who the real one is. I've got your card now, sorcerer. Revealing what he sees inside the blindfold, showing 4 silhouettes, but only one with the complex energy signatures of a living object. Without a moment's notice, Bardock breaks free of the attack and rushes in at the first of the fake Whis, yelling, instantly kicking the first Whis right in the stomach. How? Before moving swiftly forward onto the next clone as he laughs. Once you take out the fakes, you're not so tough anymore, are you, sorcerer? I'll enjoy pummeling these weaker versions of you. Take this! Suddenly then uppercutting the second Whis clone. With 2 Whis now left, Bardock keeps his smile as he checks once again who the real Whis is, muttering, So, 2 weird sorcerers left. Now which one's getting these hands first? Before turning suddenly to his left, where the last clone remains. So, there you are. I've got just the right way in mind to get this one. Before then calmly landing on the ground. Suddenly then maneuvering his body in a never before seen way, immediately jumping and twisting his body mid-air, generating a huge amount of rotation that ultimately smacks the last Whis clone point blank on the face and in devastating fashion. Yeah! How'd you like that one, sorcerer? I was working on that one in hell for years. With all the fake Whis apparitions defeated, they then all vanish immediately into puffs of smoke. Bardock, now ready to take on the real Whis, finally yells out, All that's left is you now, Whis! If that was your best bet of beating me, then you're in for a rude awakening. Prepare yourself, sorcerer! Meanwhile, Whis is just left in complete shock at what he's just witnessed, thinking to himself, This is unheard of. How has this Saiyan come this far so quickly? Has he fully mastered the use of the sacred blindfold? Bardock's son seems to be growing stronger every second, even in the midst of battle. Meanwhile, Bardock continues his assault, ready to attack with a punch that is even stronger than what he used on the clones. But instantly, and to the complete surprise of Bardock, his strongest punch is stopped delicately by a single finger of the real Whis. Bardock is left speechless, only able to let out the word, Huh? How? Which Whis with a smirk then begins explaining, Bardock-san, you truly have come leaps and bounds. No doubt now, your ability now to move without thinking and control your ultra instinct has near reached its peak. Even I cannot land my attacks on you easily anymore. And what's more, each time we have a skirmish, you continually surprise and improve simultaneously. I'd say improving after a battle is typical of a Saiyan, but this kind of speed of improvement in the midst of confrontation I've only ever witnessed once before. He then continues, but alas, I'm afraid there is one massive problem for you, one hurdle I could not be the one to help you with. And that is even with Ultra Instinct and your ability now to move on par with us angels, your power level is still incredibly low. Far weaker than that of your son, that's for sure. And I believe in your case, without the Super Saiyan transformations Goku possesses, your attacks, though speedy and timed right, will never amount to anything without power behind them.
What?
Understandably, the sweaty from training Bardock is left in shock hearing these words, responding further,
So, after all this non-stop crazy training, fighting a freak like you all day and night, you're still saying I'm still no closer to beating Kakarot? That can't be! What was the point of all this then, sorcerer?
In response, Whis just calmly smiles with his hands behind his back and replies, Oh, Bardock-san, the point of this training was always just to help you master your Ultra Instinct, and only that. You have a gift, one that could not be left alone once I'd witnessed it, and one that ultimately will prove very useful for you in the future, I'm sure. And that is exactly what we have now perfected with the help of the sacred blindfold. I feel the only way for you to improve now under my tutelage is to allow you to maintain your abilities without it. But rest assured, Ultra Instinct or not, that will make no difference to the gap in power between yourself and Goku-san. Angered and disappointed by Whis' admission, Bardock begins taking off his blindfold and looks at his hands, muttering,
Damn it. So I'm really expected to master and go through all those damn transformations just to be strong enough to dent him. Damn it all! It's going to take another 10 years, I bet.
With his blindfold now off and his eyes readjusting to the light, he reflects further on his situation after almost a year of training.
I should have known. Angel technique or not, all this does is allow me to run and not get hit. At the end of the day, a fight is about fighting. And the way Kakarot has gone so far beyond even the legendary Super Saiyan, there's just no way I could ever make up the gap. He's been training for 30 years, ascending non-stop through those multicolored forms. I really was just kidding myself that I'd become a challenge in less than just 1 year.
Whis, however, understanding Bardock's thoughts, responds, Well, actually, Bardock-san, after watching your truly unexpected speed of improvement, I've realized you're far from being a carbon copy of your son. In fact, I believe you to be no ordinary Saiyan at all. You differ from Goku-san in that you are far easier to teach, and a big part of that is down to your ability to improve in the middle of battle, rather than at the end. Truth be told, when I split myself into 4, I expected you to be out of your depth for at least a few more months. To go from reacting to 1 angel to dealing with 4 attacking you at the same time is a tremendous jump, Bardock-san. He continues, Yet within seconds, you had completely adapted. There is only one other Saiyan that I've seen grow so much stronger in so little time. And similarly, while he's fighting. And what may be useful information to you is, Bardock, is the fact he had unlocked forms that rivaled Goku-san's god forms without needing to transform anywhere near as many times. I think with just one of those strange forms he possesses, you will be more than ready to battle your son. And if my assumption is correct, the key to it all may be within that tail of yours. The one item you and him have in common, and crucially, which Goku-san does not. Bardock, now invigorated from this reveal, excitedly then yells out,
No way! Really?
That's amazing! Just what I needed! So who is this guy? Another Saiyan, you say? From Earth? Kakarot didn't mention another full-blooded Saiyan over here? What a fool to leave out such important information. Let's go now, Whis. What is this guy's name, anyway? Whis then just smiles and replies, his name is Broly. Meanwhile, in the deep reaches of space, on planet Vampar, Broly, Chila and Limo are seen socializing around a fire, unaware of anything that has been taking place on Earth, as you'd expect, until suddenly Broly reacts in an inexplicable shock as he senses something. Understandably, Chila and Limo look on worried at the shaken Broly and question him, Broly? What's wrong? Did something happen? And Limo chimes in, yeah, what's up? I haven't seen you this uneasy since we turned up on the planet. Broly then, after a moment's silence, regains his composure and just simply replies, it's nothing. I just thought maybe he was back. Meanwhile, back in the hyperbolic time chamber, Vegeta stands before his father, who has transformed into the very first Super Saiyan 4 God form, a pinnacle never even thought possible in the Dragon Ball Super universe. Vegeta stands in complete shock, just barely letting out, Father! You're alive! How did you... And yet I can't sense your ki anymore! Does this mean you did it? This is a god form? A serious looking King Vegeta with his arms folded, meanwhile replies, I was hoping you'd be able to answer that one, son. When you were blasting me with that Gallic gun, I decided midway to follow the exact instructions you gave. I extracted the God Ki you imparted into me, absorbed your God Ki infused blast, and then crushed it in my hand, trying my best to absorb it all into my body, despite how much larger this energy was than the one you described. As he looks at his hands, marveling at the power coursing through his veins now, he continues, the power, as you can imagine, was unreal, and so too was the struggle to gain control of it. I imagine far greater than what you went through. For one, you told me you needed to become a Super Saiyan 2. But for me, there were times I felt not even my Super Saiyan 4 transformation was enough. In truth, I just barely survived. But here I am, faster, stronger, and feeling the best I ever have. Like I said earlier, Vegeta, the true power of a Saiyan has no limits. In the end, we overcome everything, and with the help of our birthright tail, any and everything becomes possible. There was never a doubt in my mind, but without your tail, this power could never be achieved by either you or Kakarot. With a smirk now on his face, King Vegeta sinisterly reveals, indeed, there's no doubt in my mind after seeing both you and Kakarot's full powers that I have well and truly surpassed both of you, and by some margin. I don't even need to test my strength to know how insane my power is now. While you two became Super Saiyan gods, I went 3 levels above to a Super Saiyan 4 god. Vegeta immediately reacts in wide-eyed shock as he responds, Super Saiyan 4 god? That can't be! That's impossible! That's ridiculous! That can't exist! If it were that way, that would make you hundreds of times stronger than us! Each Super Saiyan transformation is a multiplier that increasingly gets larger!
You were already near enough the level of a god with just your base Super Saiyan 4 form. To have progressed so fast to that level is one thing, but to do the same as a god is not possible! I refuse to believe this!
King Vegeta finds the whole situation amusing, just cockily replies,
Well, I'm sure if the way you've dominated me so far, this would be a shock to you. But you know, if you have any doubts, there's always one way to find out for sure. You're not afraid, are you, son? I wouldn't want to embarrass you any more than Kakarot already has.
Instantly triggered by his father's words, Vegeta becomes enraged, yelling,
As usual, you're too cocky just like before. Some new colored hair and some ridiculous looking fur, and you think you can challenge the most powerful Saiyan in the universe? So be it. I'll show you now the full power of my evolution blue.
Vegeta then proceeds to get into fighting stance, but visibly more cautious than ever before, as even he doesn't quite know just yet what power his father now has. King Vegeta, however, just remains with his arms folded as if prepared for any eventuality, and just provokes his son further, saying,
What are you doing? Don't wait for me. I'll let you make the first move. I don't think I'll be needing to try very hard with you anymore. That's enough hot air out of you. I'll end this instantly.
Immediately causing Vegeta to rush in with such a ferocity not seen since the Cell Saga. So our story continues with an enraged and provoked Vegeta in his evolution blue form, rushing in to punch his father, King Vegeta.
That's the way. Show me what you can do, kid.
Mid-flight, however, King Vegeta is so calm, he quickly thinks introspectively,
It looks like that Kakarot comment really got him going. Let's see what that good old-fashioned Saiyan rage does to his power level.
Instantly, Vegeta rushes in, throwing out a barrage of attacks. But shockingly, King Vegeta in his new form just remains smirking, arms folded, and dodging every attack like it's child's play. Unsatisfied with the performance of his punches, Vegeta then yells out,
Damn you! Try this!
While his father continues to laugh.
Yes, try everything in your locker, Vegeta.
But with the slightest of movements, King Vegeta easily dodges once again.
What was that? Can you at least try to hit me, son?
At this point, the provoked and completely antagonized Vegeta then goes in for another more powerful kick, yelling, but instantly, it lands with a massive thud as if blocked. But mysteriously, neither of King Vegeta's arms have moved.
No way! It can't be!
A wave of shock suddenly covers Vegeta as he realizes his own most powerful kick had just been stopped effortlessly by nothing more than King Vegeta's tail. A feat not even thought possible. He mutters to himself,
His tail? He blocked my attack with just his tail? What is he?
Vegeta then looks up and sees his father once more, still cockily smirking, having not changed from his folded arms, as if just watching in pleasure at Vegeta's utter shock. Vegeta comments,
This man, is this really still my father?
While King Vegeta replies,
Oh, my son, I am most definitely still your father. Just not the one you knew before I entered here. When I came in here, you were to be my teacher. But now,
I'm in a league far beyond yours. I now know how it feels to be Kakarot. You bastard!
These words of course completely triggering Vegeta further as his power explodes in rage. King Vegeta, meanwhile, knowing all too well how to push his own son's buttons, just smirks and laughs at his power-up attempt, saying,
How frail is your ego to erupt in rage whenever Kakarot's name is simply mentioned. It's pathetic enough you even let a low-class grunt like that surpass you. But now, to let him have so much power of you mentally, tragic.
But in the middle of King Vegeta's monologue, Vegeta suddenly vanishes, leaving the king momentarily shocked.
Huh? What's this now? Where did that brat run off to? That was no ordinary vanish. He must have used that instant transmission technique. But using that technique coupled with his undetectable God Key could pose a problem. There's no way for me to know where he'll be, and he'll arrive faster than I can even react.
Before just as King Vegeta finishes his thoughts, Vegeta arrives instantly right behind an oblivious King Vegeta. And suddenly, without warning, then grabs hard onto his father's tail.
Vegeta? You coward! Wait! What do you think you're doing?
Vegeta, now grabbing hard onto the tail, begins swinging his body, yelling as he begins rotating King Vegeta round and round as if he's nothing more than a ragdoll. The disorientated king, meanwhile, is left just muttering,
Vegeta!
And looking at his father as he swings faster and faster, Vegeta yells,
That's enough of your overconfidence! I'll show you once and for all the weakness of this cumbersome tail, and rip it off in the process! Huh? Rip it off? You wouldn't dare! Let go, damn it!
But King Vegeta's pleas are left unheard as Vegeta spins his father round and round so fast an entire tornado begins to pick up and be created just from the velocity. Before then eventually letting go, sending his father flying at insane speeds as he stares from behind. Vegeta smirks and comments,
That tail was attached tighter on you than I thought, but no matter. This is still the end for you, old man!
With King Vegeta just remaining in a state of shock as he flies further and further, unable to control himself.
Huh? He let go? What's he planning now?
And following this, Vegeta then quickly jumps into the air, reaching his still rapidly flying father almost instantly, yelling as he does so,
So, this is the almighty power of a Super Saiyan 4 God, huh? Big name for such a pathetic level of power. Allow me to remind you what true strength is.
Immediately then powering up in his hand a ball of concentrated energy. Firing off a barrage of ki beams, all aimed at the Flying King. Meanwhile, however, the dazed King Vegeta finally regains his footing mid-air.
Enough of this! Will I get my hands on him? What the? Where did all these come from?
But suddenly, just as he opens his eyes, King Vegeta finds himself completely surrounded by a wall of ki beams, courtesy of his own son. And as expected, with literally no time to react, King Vegeta is hit by one of them, before consecutively being hit by all the others, resulting in a massive explosion that grows with every new ki beam hit. Unsatisfied, however, Vegeta carries on, rapidly adding to the carnage. Going non-stop until almost all his ki is depleted. In
the midst of the massive dust cloud created from the explosions, Vegeta just stands in ominous silence, as if preparing one final move. And just like that, without warning, then stretches out his arm one final time, proclaiming, "Sorry, Father, but this was for your own good. No mortal alive could ever challenge the Prince of all Saiyans. Be gone! Big Bang Attack!" Firing off one of his most powerful and most iconic attacks, pinpoint at the king, leading ultimately to a devastating explosion, one that not even Vegeta could have survived himself. Vegeta, having pushed himself to the limit, is left exhausted and dripping in sweat as he mutters, "I did it! I really killed my own father, but it was inevitable. With that kind of power at his fingertips, it was becoming a danger even to me and Kakarot. It won't be as light a decision to revive him again in a year." But it was amusing to see how confident he was with that ugly excuse for a transformation. So much for surpassing me in Kakarot. The fool blabbered on about the power of that tail, but the fool couldn't even defend himself once it was grabbed. What a pathetic sight. Indeed, what a pathetic sight, son. But suddenly, from the distance, a cold but familiar voice talks, instantly petrifying the prince. No, it can't be! And so Vegeta turns around quickly, and to his great shock and fear, King Vegeta stands once again, smirking, untouched, and still in that nonchalant, folded arm stance. The now terrified prince can all but just say only a few words as he lets out, How is this possible? He hasn't even got a single scratch. I made direct contact!" King Vegeta, however, amused of his son's complete confusion, explains, "I told you, son. I'm just far beyond you now. How you thought such an obvious and brain-dead attack would work is beyond me. But I appreciate the effort. Looks like you're out of juice now, though. And now, it's my turn." Ugh! No! Unable to accept reality, the prince powers up once more, pushing himself even further, breaking his limits once again, yelling out, "I've had enough of the twists and turns! Unfold those damn arms and prepare yourself for hand-to-hand combat, father! No tricks, no energy blasts, just fists!" But as the infuriated Vegeta rushes in, just inches away from landing his punch on his father, despite King Vegeta still not moving his arms, Vegeta is instantly hit by a barrage of attacks and punches, too fast for even a Saiyan to see. Though not too powerful, the bruised Vegeta is pushed back as he responds, "What the hell happened there? His body didn't even move. How fast could he possibly be?" While King Vegeta, still with a smirk, continues taunting, saying, "What's wrong? Weren't you supposed to attack me? What was that? I thought you were supposed to be a Saiyan prince. I don't remember raising the Saiyan royalty to be so weak." "You deluded old fool! I don't care what ridiculous new abilities you have. Those attacks barely fazed me. I'll show you what real pain is!" Barely faze you, say? I'll change that for you then, my son.
And again, without any visible movement, Vegeta is once again hit directly in the face. This time, much harder than before. The wobbled prince stands disorientated momentarily, trying to keep calm, but even he knows the power of that final punch is rushing through his body. You call that a punch? But instantly, with no more fight to give, Vegeta reverts back to base as he slowly loses consciousness. But King Vegeta does not let up his attack, first uppercutting the Saiyan before just as quickly King Vegeta beats him down to the ground, all the while watching from above with a sinister smirk as Vegeta flies and flies at top speed towards the floor. But just before the prince hits the ground, King Vegeta appears, ready to catch his son gently and break the fall. With his son in his arms, he calmly whispers, "You did well, my son. Our training is officially over. You should be proud of yourself. But I'm afraid now it's time for me to see your friend again." Following this, the unconscious Vegeta says nothing in return, while his father slowly walks back with him closer and closer towards the hyperbolic time chamber. Soon enough, he spots the entrance, and finally from the outside, the door to the hyperbolic time chamber finally opens. And standing at the entrance, to the shock of Dende and Mr. Popo, is a now base King Vegeta, still holding the motionless prince. The king then commands, "You there, green man! Get over here immediately! My son needs assistance." Immediately, the two parties then come together, where both Dende and Mr. Popo are shocked to see the extent of their injuries. Dende reacts, "Vegeta! Damn, you guys went really hard in there, didn't you? What happened?" With Mr. Popo saying,
"Oh, Vegeta, I've never seen him so exhausted. He's barely breathing. Come, Dende, we must treat him at once."
King Vegeta then places his son carefully on the ground, cautious to not injure him anymore, saying as he does this, "It seems the fat one is the only competent one here. Yes, young Vegeta has burned himself out almost completely. I fear he hasn't got long left. You there, Namekian! I know already of your healing abilities. Use them at once, or feel the wrath of a doting father. I shall be back later." To which a scared Dende immediately just replies, Yes sir, sure, of course. I'll make sure Vegeta's back to good health in no time." And with that, King Vegeta walks to the edge of Kami's lookout, looking over the entire Earth. For a moment, a brief lull of regret comes over him as he thinks, "My dear Vegeta, I'm sorry I had to do that to you in the end, but it was a necessary evil to reach my full potential. And now that I've got it, Kakarot, our rematch begins now!" Immediately then flying off at top speed and with a determined look on his face as he vows to find Goku next. As he continues on to his next destination, he looks around and thinks to himself, Now where was Kakarot's house again? It's only been a day out here in the real world, but for me, it's been a whole year since I was last taken there. I hope he hasn't left. After training Vegeta all that time, I've only just about learned how to pick up power levels without a scouter. It could prove troublesome otherwise. As he flies, King Vegeta begins to also reflect on all that has happened so far. The journey he has gone on from the start of his training to mastering the power of a Super Saiyan to teaching his son more of the origin of the Saiyans and to finally surpassing even Vegeta himself with a form never before seen in the Dragon Ball Super universe. King Vegeta then finally closes his eyes as he reaches close to Goku's home, attempting to detect his key signature. Let's see. I remember his key being unmistakably similar to Bardock's. There he is! Looks like he hadn't left his home after all. Typical of a lazy low-class Saiyan. He's more like his father than he'll ever know. Immediately then heading off at full speed straight for Goku. Meanwhile, however, at Goku's home, the entire family, including Goten and Gohan, are gathered enjoying a massive meal, while Chi-Chi happily serves more and more food. Gosh, Chi-Chi, you outdid yourself again! I could enjoy this all day. But suddenly, a loud knock is heard on the door, alarming all three of the Saiyans. Huh? Who could that be? And standing at the door as it slams open is none other than King Vegeta himself, standing coldly before letting off. So sorry to intrude on your meal. It looks like you're enjoying yourselves. But unfortunately, I'm back from my training, Kakarot, and I'm ready for round 2. Get your things and come with me. After a year in that hellhole, I'm not waiting any longer. Goku, however, who is oblivious to King Vegeta's words and just happy to see him again, smiles and laughs instead, telling his family, "Oh, it's just you, Mr. Vegeta? Back already? That was fast. Hey guys, you remember Vegeta's dad, right? We wished him back not too long ago. Give him a big welcome." The still smiling Goku then offers, "Oh, I know. After all that training, you must be starving. Lucky for you, we're eating right now, and Chi-Chi made plenty. Have a seat. You're going to love it." Chi-Chi meanwhile walks over with a smile and another tray of food, adding, "Oh, Goku, always inviting your friends over to eat without letting me know. But yes, of course, I always make seconds, thirds and fourths whenever the boys are around. I know too well how you Saiyans eat." Feeling totally safe around Goku's new friend, she gets closer and outstretches her hand for a handshake, saying, "So, you're Vegeta's dad. I can tell where he got his looks from. By the way, I'm Chi-Chi. It's nice to finally meet." But without warning and in completely unexpected fashion, King Vegeta then smacks the defenseless Chi-Chi with enough velocity, she then falls to the ground, with all the food in her tray she so kindly offered now all over the floor of Goku's home. Immediately, the entire family of Goku is left shell-shocked, for the first time ever seeing someone lay hands on Chi-Chi. As they remain still unable to even understand what they've just seen, King Vegeta just emotionlessly adds, "Stay away from me, Earth woman. I said I came here for Kakarot, not your hideous attempt at food. Now that's out of the way. Are you ready yet, Kakarot?" But Gohan, looking on at his unconscious dear mother, the woman who raised him, the person closest to him on the planet, to now be on the floor, beaten before his very own eyes, just mutters, "Mother, he hit you. He..." Suddenly, Gohan snaps as a wave of unrivaled rage flushes through his body. "He hit you!" In a surge of incredible rage, Gohan instantly transforms into a Super Saiyan 2, blowing away all of the surrounding furniture in the process. He continues, You'll pay for this! Dad, Goten, stand back! I'm sending him back where he came from! No one hits my mom! Rushing in with a fury rarely ever seen by Gohan. And a direct punch lands right on King Vegeta's face. But somehow, King Vegeta is completely unfazed.
What the? I landed on him perfectly! My fist didn't even move his face! Who is this guy?
As Gohan looks on in complete confusion and fear, however, the king just replies with his voice muffled behind Gohan's knuckles saying,
Who am I? You dare ask as a Saiyan who I am?
Before tightening his fist and continuing,
I am your king!
Immediately then gut punching the young Gohan, sending him flying through the house, smashing through one end and landing hard on a large tree outside. And with just that one punch, Gohan is left in base form, unconscious just like his mother, just muttering in a daze, Dad, please.
Gohan! No! Stay down, son! What's going on? How the hell has he improved this much?
Gohan was a Super Saiyan 2, and Mr. Vegeta is still in base, but that attack didn't do anything. There's no doubt about it. He's gotten way stronger. This could be a problem. Meanwhile, Goten has watched all of this play out and gotten angry himself yells out, Gohan! Why you? I'm gonna get you, mister! And then immediately rushes in, too, just like his brother. But alas, he is instantly grabbed by the foot by Goku.
Huh? Dad? Let go!
But Goku, with a serious face, just responds,
No, Goten, stop!
Don't worry, Gohan will be just fine. He's been through a lot worse. Go take care of your mother and go upstairs straight away. I'll deal with Uncle Vegeta here and now. He's just not acting himself right now. Goten, however, looks back, tired of being treated like a child, and replies, But Dad, I can...
Now, Goten!
This isn't a game. When I say do something, do it! Snapping instantly at Goten, knowing how dangerous the situation has now become for everyone. Goten, having never seen this side of his dad, finally understands how serious he is and reluctantly then grabs Chi-Chi and begins flying away to safety. Meanwhile, Goku and King Vegeta are then left facing each other alone and in deadlock, with the king remarking,
So it looks like you have a backbone after all, Kakarot.
Hard to believe we're both fathers, but it seems we both have something in common now. We both instill fear into our sons. Goku, now slowly growing angrier and angrier, however, responds, Me and you are nothing alike, and neither is your son. It looks to me your training paid off really well, but I wouldn't expect any less when your training partner was Vegeta. But stronger or not, I have no idea what made you think you could come to my house and lay a finger on my family. Like Gohan said, I won't be letting you get away with this, Mr. Vegeta. King Vegeta, however, is unfazed by these words and just smiles, replying,
Oh, is that so? Well, let's have that round 2 now then. Anywhere and any time.
And you can be sure to teach me a lesson for harming these pathetic earthlings, okay, Kakarot? With that angry look on your face, you're starting to remind me more and more of your father. And so, with a deadly silence, Goku then proceeds to just walk towards King Vegeta, not saying a word, before then eventually passing by the king. The tension in the air is so palpable that at any time or second, either of them could unleash a flurry of attacks that would most likely cause the entire planet to quake. Goku, however, then eventually reaches outside and begins pointing in a specific direction, saying, "Over there! I'm not having you destroy more of my house or harm anyone else. We're going to fight where we fought last time, where I last beat you. Follow me!" And King Vegeta, just confidently smirking at the subtle trash talk, replies, "Where you last beat me, huh? Of course. How fitting. Lead the way, young Kakarot." And with that, the two men fly off into the sky for their final battle. So our story continues after King Vegeta suddenly appeared at Goku's household, challenging Goku to a rematch after his year of training with his son, Vegeta. Goku is seen now flying ahead of the king, who's closely following behind, but with an angered face he thinks, "That year of training really had some effect. Gohan's punch didn't do a thing as a Super Saiyan 2. Hate to say it, but as much as I'm going to make him pay for hitting Chi-Chi and Gohan, I'm kind of excited to see how strong he's become." Eventually, Goku looks down and spots a suitable place far enough from any civilians and lets the king know, "Hey, this is it. We can fight here." Before then hastily landing down, causing King Vegeta to respond, "Well, that didn't take long. It seems in the end, you do want this battle as much as I do, young Kakarot." And so the two land moments after each other, with Goku and the king now staring into each other's eyes, both with differing levels of confidence. Goku begins, "This is exactly where we fought last time. Just you and me, Mr. Vegeta. You can go full power, and so can I. And trust me, this time I won't go easy after what you did." But King Vegeta just responds unbothered by the threats. "Easy, huh? You sound just like Vegeta when you get cocky, kid. Let's not get carried away and forget if it wasn't for your ability to transform back then, you'd have been done for. All that time training and battling villains, even gods at times, and you couldn't beat an old man without dyeing your hair blonde. Pathetic. And what's worse, after my training, that gap has only just increased." Goku, realizing what the king is saying is technically true, then questions back, "So what are you saying? You want me to fight with no transformations? I don't need to turn into a Super Saiyan to beat you in that case, Mr. Vegeta. I'll show you the power of Kaioken instead if you prefer. I'd like to see you try and keep up with that." However, the only partially intrigued King Vegeta replies, "Kaioken? I don't believe Vegeta told me about that. Whatever it is though, no. In this fight, I want you to use your full power. You're going to need it." Instantly, Goku is less surprised at the king's unexpected request, saying, "Full power? Surely Vegeta's taught you about all our forms. There's no way you really think you'd stand a chance against that. Even if you managed to master the Super Saiyan form in the hyperbolic time chamber like we did all those years ago, it'd make no difference." I think I understand. You still haven't learned to sense power levels without a scouter, have you? I'm sorry, Mr. Vegeta, but if you thought a Super Saiyan was powerful, you're in for a rude awakening. I have a lot more forms under my sleeve. Forms that make a Super Saiyan look like nothing. I'm just kinda surprised Vegeta didn't show you." The quietly confident King Vegeta, however, anticipating the oblivious reaction by Goku, just closes his eyes and replies with a smirk, "You really do underestimate me, Kakarot. Trust me when I tell you, I know all about your many forms." "Like this! Just like that, King Vegeta instantly transforms into a Super Saiyan 3, with every part of his body immediately bulking up one by one, leaving him surrounded in electricity. Huh? No way! That's insane, Mr. Vegeta! A Super Saiyan 3! Amazing! Darn, in 1 year you went from not knowing how to become a Super Saiyan to mastering the third form. You're something else, Mr. Vegeta. Not even the Universe 6 Saiyans progressed this fast. But as expected from Vegeta's dad, I guess? Still covered in his tremendous aura, King Vegeta responds,
So, you're impressed, I take it, Kakarot? I can see on your face, finally you're beginning to realize this won't be a repeat of our last skirmish.
Goku, however, now smiling, replies, Well, I'm definitely impressed. I'm not sure the result is going to be any different if this is your max power level, but I'm sure of one thing. This is going to be fun. I've never fought another Super Saiyan 3 before. I'm going to make the most of this. Complete synchronization of King Vegeta, Goku 2 then transforms into a Super Saiyan 3, once again covered in a raging aura, as he yells, Let's skip the warm-up then. I haven't used this form in a long time, so this will be good training. Try your best to not disappoint me, Mr. Vegeta. And with that, King Vegeta then gladly gets into his fighting stance with a smirk, saying,
I was expecting you to go into your god form to match me. But no matter, if you choose to underestimate me, it'll be more satisfying to lift your bloodied body off the floor. Prepare yourself, brat!
And so Goku 2 then gets into a fighting stance, replying, God forms? Now that wouldn't be any fun at all. I'll fight you at this level and see what you've got. You're not worth the extra energy. Besides, with the anger I've got pent up in me, this is all I'll need!
Damn, this feels just like deja vu. Why do these kids always seem to be so damn angry when they fight me? At least it's more of a sign that this fight will end just like how it did with Vegeta.
And instantly in a rage, the Super Saiyan 3 Goku rushes in, now free to unleash all his power and avenge Chi-Chi. At first, the two seem evenly matched, their first punches trading perfectly on each other's faces. But inexplicably, however, both Goku and the King are left with smirks, saying nothing as if communicating only of their fists like true Saiyans would. But the pleasantries are short-lived as Goku then slams his leg right into the solar plexus of the King. King Vegeta is briefly wounded as he coughs out blood from the internal damage, but is then quick to reply with a roundhouse of his own. Goku is then sent flying to a crash landing, but within seconds flips back up to his knees to stabilize. Without a moment's notice, however, he then vanishes. And the two clash head-on once again, with the sheer enjoyment apparent to all on their faces as Goku mentions mid-fight, Not bad at all, Mr. Vegeta! For someone who only just became a Super Saiyan 3, your mastery of it is insane! But you must know as well as I do that this form wastes too much energy. It's only a matter of time before you run out of juice. Give it up already! The smiling King responds, however,
You remember what I told you about underestimating me, right, Kakarot? Speak for yourself. Maybe you can't last very long, but you and Chi-Chi will learn. You and I are not the same. Once I'm done here, I'll be hitting your wife again. Just from the back this time.
Goku, now losing his cool at the King's disrespectful comments, reminding him of what he did to Chi-Chi, suddenly continues the fight, trading blows over and over. Oh, how weak the Saiyans on this planet have become! Losing your mind and getting angered over women! You fools lost more than your tails when you came here. You lost track of what really matters too! I don't even remember who Vegeta's mother was. Chi-Chi will make a fine stepmother to him though. Be quiet! But even with rushing in at full speed, King Vegeta immediately vanishes from Goku's sight. For a moment, Goku looks around unexpectedly, being unable to sense the king's whereabouts, recounting, "What's going on? I can't sense him anywhere. But how could he mask his ki without a god form? Damn it! He hits like a truck! I can't afford to be caught off guard. I guess there's only one option." And with that, Goku then relaxes his body and mind and closes his eyes, inside thinking, so it looks like I'll need to stack Ultra Instinct on top of Super Saiyan 3, using it as a technique, just like Whis said. I've only tried this with the God forms, but it should work on a normal Super Saiyan transformation too. But with the king noticing Goku's closed eyes and seemingly vulnerable state, he immediately appears, using his Saiyan-fying instinct to take advantage, yelling, "Ha! Only a fool would ever close his eyes in the midst of a battle! Take this!" But shockingly, with his eyes still closed, almost mirroring his father before him, Goku dodges, using his Ultra Instinct at the last second. What the hell was that movement? How could he dodge without even seeing where I was? It's almost like he could predict exactly what I'd do before I even knew. But before King Vegeta could even finish his thoughts, and only a fool would ever daydream in the midst of battle, Mr. Vegeta. Following this, King Vegeta is sent flying, but fairly quickly regains himself. He's less phased than what Goku would have expected though, and is still thinking on his earlier strange movement, saying, that was definitely no ordinary movement. But curiously, his strength has remained the same. Whatever that was, it was no mortal technique. It seems young Kakarot has surpassed Vegeta in more ways than one. How pathetic. I'll be the Vegeta to bring back honor to our family by putting this brat down now. Come, Kakarot! Allow me to show you what the end looks like! Immediately coming right back at Goku with a cocky smirk on his face, before instantly transforming into a Super Saiyan 4 mid-flight. What is that? Is that fur? Stunning a Goku who has never even laid eyes on such a form ever before. Paralyzed by his shock and fear, Goku remains stand still as the king approaches at unrivaled speed, commenting, Wait, no! But instantaneously, King Vegeta is seen gut-punching a completely taken off guard Goku with a smile. Goku, meanwhile, is seen left doing nothing but coughing out blood, as the king remarks, "Oh, hey there, Kakarot. Fancy seeing you here. It seems your body is as soft as you made yourself sound, angered over that silly little Earth woman. You're lucky I didn't kill her. This right here is the true power of our Saiyan race. The power you would have received if you had only kept your damn tail. What a waste. Bardock would be turning in his grave. Now you finally know why I insisted you battle me at your full power. Don't say I didn't warn you." Clenching his fist as he finishes his sentence. Uppercutting Goku violently as even more blood spatters out of the mouth of the younger Saiyan. The force is so great, Goku is immediately flung into the air so far, within a nanosecond, he is barely even visible from the ground, but the king is far from finished and vanishes in tow. Instantaneously, King Vegeta then appears right on top of Goku, who's still flying right towards him, and with both hands clenched tight, King Vegeta viciously slams down on Goku's temple, sending him crash landing into the ground with a menacing force. From the rubble of the ground, Goku still lives, but in incredible pain as he remains in his Super Saiyan 3 form. All he can do right now is think about what exactly he's even seeing from the king, saying,
This power, it's unreal. He's stronger than a Super Saiyan God. Did he really surpass a Super Saiyan 3? I can only imagine what would have happened if I had this form back then with Beerus.
But as Goku foolishly daydreams, he suddenly feels his hair being grabbed. Something that's never ever been done before in this form. He looks out of the corner of his eyes muttering,
Wait a minute! What are you doing with my hair, Mr. Vegeta? Let go!
But is left screaming as King Vegeta grabs tighter and tighter, pulling on his blonde locks. As a tear begins to form in Goku's eyes from the extreme pain, an amused King Vegeta remarks,
Look at you, screaming like a damn woman. Not even your own mother had locks as long as this. Allow me to give you a much needed haircut, my boy.
And with that, King Vegeta begins swinging Goku round and round, all by the grip of his hair, leaving a paralyzed by pain Goku in shock as he becomes more disorientated. But as King Vegeta swings Goku, in his hand he forms an energy blade, and immediately cuts Goku's hair, sending Goku flying, while the king holds onto a roughly cut tuft of blonde hair. Goku of course is sent flying, crash landing into a nearby mountain, again emerging conscious but even more damaged, just about able to mutter,
Did he cut my hair? I don't even let Chi-Chi do that. That better grow back, Mr. Vegeta.
A crazed King Vegeta now, completely taken over by his dominance over Goku, then laughs maniacally.
Finally, I got to fix that unsightly form. What kind of Saiyan transformation removes your eyebrows and makes your hair longer than a damn woman's? I'm so glad I surpassed both you kids and became a Super Saiyan 4. Now this is a form fit for a king. Thank you, Arj. Huh? Wait a second.
But the king's gloating is cut short once he realizes that in the distance a power level is skyrocketing. He quickly glances over, and from the direction of Goku, multiple beams of light can be seen. And Goku emerges now in a Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken form, with the top part of his gi ripping off simultaneously from the sheer ferocity of his aura. With a serious face, he now addresses King Vegeta saying, So, that's what's beyond Super Saiyan 3, a Super Saiyan 4. Who knew that was possible all along? Ha! Can't say I'm not impressed with how it looks, Mr. Vegeta. That fur is cool, but that power, it's good. But if you think it matches up against my Kaioken and Blue, you've got another thing coming. You said you wanted all my transformations, well here's my final one. I can't use Kaioken forever, so I'll end this now if that's all you have to show me. Don't hold back on a Super Saiyan 5, I'd love to see it. King Vegeta, however, unflustered, just replies,
Final form, you say? You truly are a soft and weak-minded fellow, aren't you? What exactly are you trying to do by telling me that lie? Spare my feelings? Or perhaps you simply wish to trick me? Don't play with me! I know all about your true power, your ultimate and most powerful form.
I know of your ultra instinct, Kakarot.
Understandably, Goku is left almost speechless at King Vegeta's unexpected intel and continues,
He even knows about that! But how?
and with this, King Vegeta then begins to explain,
You truly are your father's son, a fool just like him. You seem to forget that I've spent an entire year with your fellow Saiyan, your prince, Vegeta. He told me everything about you and your various achievements over the years, and I absorbed it all. I know all about the tournament, about Jiren. I know about your training with the so-called angels, Whis and Mirrors. I know everything about you and what you can do, Kakarot. So cut the bull and give me what I want.
I see, so it was Vegeta. Funny, I didn't take him to be a talkative type. I was hoping to have at least a tiny challenge and take you down with just this fool. What a bummer. But now that you know about Ultra Instinct, it would be rude not to show you, wouldn't it, Mr. Vegeta? Just don't say I didn't warn you. And with that, Goku closes his eyes and focuses, calming his mind and body, before suddenly opening them, revealing himself in his mastered Ultra Instinct form. And with a cold, emotionless face questions, satisfied now? This fight ends here.
There it is! So that's Kakarot's Ultra Instinct. That white hair, it's unmistakable. It's exactly how Vegeta described. I can't sense any power from him, but that confidence in his eyes is soul-piercing. So, this is the power of the angels. But does it stand a
But before the king can even finish his thoughts, he suddenly finds himself in unbearable pain as he coughs out instantly a gush of blood. He looks down and mutters,
What just happened? How did he do that? Kakarot, he's faster. Much faster.
And standing there for all of us to see is Ultra Instinct Goku with his fist deeply buried in the gut of the king. And with that same cold look, Goku begins saying, Sorry to cut you off, but I haven't got much time in this form. I want you to know that punch wasn't from me. That was from Gohan. With the struggling and trembling king replying,
From who? Stop getting cocky, brat. This is far from over.
But Goku just carries on. And this one is for
Chi-Chi!
Immediately, then with full force and an intensity not seen since the Jiren fight, Goku uppercuts King Vegeta in brutal fashion, sending the completely beaten and outclassed King Vegeta flying off and eventually onto his backside. With himself just barely conscious, the king uses what's left of his energy to look out into the distance and says,
Lucky punch, kid. But damn, that hurt. Why does his fist seem so much harder now? That fist felt indestructible.
Goku, meanwhile, hearing these words, just interrupts. It's because when I go into this form, my body instantly hardens. Not only can you not land a hit on me, but on the off chance you do, I take far less damage. It's a technique I've still not mastered, but for the likes of you, even my Omen form would have been enough. He then continues, but having said that, you've gotten a lot stronger, Mr. Vegeta, and I'm sure one day that power will come in handy to protect the Earth. But that's no excuse for losing your manners. Though Earth is new to you, this planet is my home, and all its people
are my friends and family. It doesn't matter who you are. If you use your power to harm anyone else on this planet ever again, I won't think twice about sending you back to King Yema. I'm only going to let this slide for Trunks and Vegeta's sake. I know they went through a lot of hassle to bring you back. The damaged King Vegeta, however, just briefly smirks as he replies, "For the sake of my grandson, huh? How very angelic of you. You speak such big words for such a low-class warrior. To think you would have the king on his backside. Looks like just as Vegeta did, I too underestimated you, Kakarot." Goku, now realizing the king has accepted his defeat, then smiles and says, "It's fine. To tell you the truth, you remind me a lot of the old Vegeta. When the Vegeta first came to Earth, he was a bit rough around the edges too. He desired nothing but power and wouldn't hesitate to hurt anyone that got in his way. But now, you wouldn't be able to separate him from the rest of us here, especially with his family now." Goku then, still relaxed, outstretches his hand to give King Vegeta a hand back up and says, "Here, I think we're done now. For your sake, we'll call it a draw this time. But you look like you could use some help." And King Vegeta, smiling back, albeit deviously, replies, "A draw, you say? My, Kakarot, you are far too kind." Before his face then dramatically turns to a serious one as he outstretches his hand back, saying, "Yes, give this old man a hand. After all, you've beaten me into submission. How could I ever hope to pass such a level?" The two then meet hands, and as Goku pulls him up, he says, "Don't beat yourself up about it. That was a really good fight. I can't believe there was a form beyond Super Saiyan 3. You're gonna have to teach me that later." I can only imagine what lies beyond even a Super Saiyan 4. But suddenly, Goku's face becomes completely shocked and wide-eyed as King Vegeta instantly then transforms into his Super Saiyan 4 God form, covered in his divine aura and a raging electricity. And King Vegeta, having the final word, says, "Oh, I too can only imagine, but I have a feeling what lies beyond is even more powerful than you could ever believe, Kakarot." But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag part 15 in the comments down below, since this is my original manga, written, illustrated and narrated all by myself, and we have literally gone all the way to part 15, which is insane. If you want to support my work and make sure I don't ever stop, please consider supporting my Patreon for just $3 a month, where you instantly get access to 250 plus mangas, as well as this entire manga series also for you to look at your leisure. Links in the description and pinned comment, but if you want to see more of my signature style of content, just click on one of these two videos on the right now. Until next video, guys, cheers.